What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Italian Stallion, here for a special episode of Rebels with a Cause. We have honestly, I'm not just saying this to suck up. He was my favorite male teacher at West. He actually made me care about economics, honestly. And if Jean Singley Bailey was my favorite female teacher at West, this guy was my favorite male teacher at West, with a close second being Chris Carruthers. That being said, though, we have a special Rebels with a Cause. I hope you're tuning in, whether you're watching this live or recorded. Please hit that like and subscribe button. We're all coming on to you on a special night tonight as we discuss the only team, and it's these individuals behind me, to have won a district tournament championship in all of West history. I want you to think about this. This school has been in place since 1950, 1951, and we have only won one boys district tournament championship in that history, and it was 25 years ago in the 99 to 2000 season, a season that was filled with so much obstacles that had to be overcome, injuries. You had an assistant coach's mother pass away. So much adversity that had to be overcome. And you talk about these guys, from the coaches to the players, came together to put a special run in a time when a district tournament is not how it is now. It was 3 games in 3 days, 1 through 8. 1 played 8, 2 played 7, 3 played 6, and 4 played 5, and you went from there, baby. That's how it was. There was no break. And it was at a site. It was like a real big-time college feel back then. Not like how it is now, but it was a different era back then. But we're going to talk about it tonight. I hope you guys join us. Hit that like and subscribe button. I hope the chat box is hopping, especially if you have any questions for Coach. But first and foremost, I also just got to say that it is Rebels with a Cause. And remember, guys, that cause don't stop when the clock hits 0. Want to also give some quick shouts out real quick. Remember that the views and opinions of this program are not affiliated with those of any other organization or of West High School. This is solely the RWAC crews. That's myself, the Italian Stallion, 2-pair Tate, Brian Tate, and the coach statsman himself, Mr. Shane O'Mac, Shane McGee. Also, as I mentioned, join that chat box live, baby. Participate. We want to hear from you. Like and subscribe it. Tell everybody, we want 100 subscribers. It'd be a nice birthday present coming up in the month of March. We're only a couple days away from the madness officially beginning, and that counts regular season, conference tournaments, all of it. It's my favorite time of the year. It also happens to be me and 2-pair's birthday month. So take care of us and get them subscribers. Want to give a shout out to my gal, Kim Castle, over at King's Chamber. She'll fix you up. Couple drinks, get you a haircut, beard trim, gives you the royal treatment, makes you feel like a king over at her chamber. Also want to give a shout out to our guy, our class of 2003 grad, Mr. Alex Thatcher, and his Knoxville Coffee Company, right there in the heart of Marble City off of Sutherland Avenue. That brew is good any time of the day. And also want to give a shout out to Razor Sharp Barbershop in Knoxville. Go on ahead and see Josh Fink or Corey. Remember, guys, April 26th, it's coming faster than you know. Haircuts for prom with Miss Rice. Make everybody look good, especially for that special time of year. Want to give a shout out to Big Fact Sports Network. Follow 332 Studios if you haven't done so. And also, remember, you know what happens if you have any problems with the electrical stuff. You give our guy, the coach, statsman himself, Shane McGee, a call, 865-299-3206. He'll fit you in and make sure that you get taken care of. That being said, want to give some quick shouts out. Want to give a shout out to a former Rebel with a cause, but he damn get that cause going. Chris Cowan and Carter getting that district tournament championship. They basically grounded them Fulton Falcons. So thank you for that, guys. Really appreciate you all taking care of business on that end. Also want to give a shout out to our girls softball team beating Jefferson County 6-0. Our boys lacrosse is doing some really fabulous things. Took care of Science Hill earlier last week, 7-1. Tonight took out Maryville 14-2. Them lacrosse boys ain't playing, baby. So I'm really excited for them. Want to give some love to the team who also took care of business when they played. They went ahead and took care of Farragut the other night, and that was 15-6. by our girls lacrosse team. So shout out to them as well. Boys soccer in full swing. Started off the season in a preseason scrimmage, losing to the defending champs of South Doyle, but they rebounded with their first victory on the road against Alcoa 6-0. Got to give you guys some love. And then they followed it up with an absolutely BTA against Hall 7-1. So keep doing your thing, soccer. We're going to come out and see you, and definitely, hopefully, do a live show from there. And also baseball with their preseason scrimmage against Carter 12-4. Getting it started the right way. Can't wait to have us out there for a game day episode. Hot dogs, hopefully some good cold drinks, and watch some dingers go over the fence. So real excited about the spring sports in all full swing. And I'm done with winter, baby. Let's get that warm weather, because once we get that done, we'll have some spring football coming up, and we'll talk more about that as we get closer. So, but that being said, let me bring on my co-host and also our special guest, who has taken the time out of his busy night. He's got a grandbaby on the way, another one, and that could happen at any time. We hope that it happens tomorrow, because he wants to go to that Tennessee-Alabama big game on Saturday. Shout out to the Vols handling business on the road in the LSU. Lady Vols, I don't know what the hell happened tonight, man. You need to go back to the drawing board. That was a flat-out disgrace, getting blown out by 30 or so on the road against Big Blue. But it is what it is. So hopefully they can rebound against Georgia on Sunday. But big game for Tennessee and Alabama Saturday. Tennessee wins that one. I mean, they're still in play for a 1 seed. You can't tell me that. And definitely got to get that double bye, because that SEC tournament is going to be brutal in 2 weeks there in Nashville. So hopefully the Vols take care of business at home against a very, very good Alabama Crimson Tide basketball team. So let me get it started, baby. Real quick, do I even have to say who he is? I mean, you know who he is. Respect to Two-Pair Tate, Mr. 2003 West. Just finished his 19th year calling the Runnin' Rebels and Lady Rebels basketball, doing the thing at Pellissippi, doing the same thing in his first inaugural season for the Panthers and Lady Panthers. And you give this guy a mic, he will entertain you. He's all over the place. Drove in from out of town just to do the show for you guys to entertain. So give him some love. The one, the only, Two-Pair Tate, Brian Tate. What is up, baby?
Hey, what's up, man? Guess what?
What?
I just got in town, and then me and Tree, we got to do our show right, because he's got to be out of town. So I want to tell you, thank you so much for your hard-earned work. Like, people, let me tell y'all something. James Freeman has went viral with
Anita Baker.
Let me tell y'all, Black women now know who James Freeman is. Like, let me tell you this. One of my friends said, "Who's the Italian?" I said, "He's married." I said he's married. But no, tonight, man, is really special. A guy who, he made me understand. He cut me to make me better. He didn't make me bitter. He made me better, because I was on attack mode that entire junior year. I was in attack mode. I attacked everything better. I was a better student. I was a better athlete. Then after my junior year, I decided to play football, broke my wrist, couldn't play my senior year. And I just really want to tell Coach Lindsay, because I gotta be off the show. I gotta leave early, because I gotta get to the studio to do the great show with my man Tree. Y'all know from Tree Gang, everybody loves him. Matter of fact, he's in the studio right now. If y'all want to see him,
bring him on real quick.
You want me to bring Tree Gang
real
on?
Quick.
Look, he's here. He's here. What's up, baby?
What's up, man? How you doing?
How's it going?
It's going good. Good luck with your show.
Awesome, this is the one and only Tree. This is who I do my show with. So we actually got to be at the new studio to do the show. And he wanted to come on real quick. And I wanted to bring him on because Cabin Fever Radio, we just got the big distribution deal with Brick House Beauties. So we actually have to be on every single day.
Absolutely.
So
Gotta
this
do
man
sponsors,
he
man.
just flew in.
I had to show some love.
He had to
That's
show
awesome,
some
man.
love,
Yes,
man.
sir. Yes,
That's
sir.
great.
So after we get done with this show, me and him actually have to do our podcast show.
Absolutely. Well, let's get Shane on real quick, and we'll bring the man
Get
on
Shane on.
himself so you can get going. Want to give a shout out to our guy, Kerry Rivas. Good evening, friends. I remember being at the game, working as an officer that night. It was a great game, and it was the first time I met Chris Lindsay and made a friend for life that night. So Kerry Rivas bringing the heat already, talking about that magical evening and 3 days back at South Doyle High School in 2000. So thank you, Kerry, and definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Got to bring him on. Our stats guy, coach himself, was getting some love the other night too when we were at the district tournament watching and so forth. But got to bring him on, man. The one, the only, Mr. Shane O'Mac, Shane McGee. What is up, baby? How you
What's up,
doing?
fellas? I'm really excited for this show. In my personal opinion, when I
I
think
love you, Shane.
love you too, bro. Hey, so what I was saying was, in my personal opinion, when I think West High School, I think Coach Lindsay.
Yeah,
He was just a staple of the school for so long. So tonight, this show just means so much as a West alumni because, in my opinion, he was West.
yeah. I'll tell you this: if we do a roundtable type of thing, we'll invite him back because I know he's got baseball stories he could talk about. For goodness sakes, him and his best friend, God rest his soul, so many years later, their name is on the baseball park. And if you look at the facility that is there at West, you know, from the football stadium to the baseball, softball now has their own campus stadium. West basketball gym. I mean, we've got the facilities, and it really is one West over there. And it all started with all the hard work that this man did. So, you know, honestly, you know, as a player at West, as a coach at West, and as an administrator at West, even did some time at Powell, you know, of all places too, and other stops. But the guy has just been an amazing staple. To know him is an honor, in my opinion. So I'm glad that we're going to bring him on. That being said, I don't want to waste any more time. I do want to give him his proper
You know what the question of the night will be.
Well, and you will ask that. You know, you will ask that. Of course, we want to focus on the team behind us and how special that was. But I want to give him his proper introduction. I knew him as the Doctor of Style. That's how he announced the announcements every day.
Yes.
The Doctor
The Doctor of Style, the great
And let me
voice.
tell you this. Live
from Marble City.
But let me tell you, any game that
Yep.
you went to, he
Yep.
was the best dressed coach, man.
Ever.
I'm telling you, man. Them
Ever.
suits, that was Armani, that was GQ, and that was one of his names, baby.
Yeah.
He had a license plate that said Coacher on it. Okay, Coacher. How about this one? Hollywood, baby. Best hair, whether it's long or whether it's short. I mean, a boss. The mustache, a boss.
mustache.
Honestly, so boss.
The mustache. But let me tell you though. Let me tell you. The style and the pizzazz and the character though.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm gonna say this about Coach Lindsay. When he cut me my sophomore year, I went back and I'm telling you, that's what made me become Mr. West. I embodied the school. I took every day at being at that school as the foundation for the rest of my life. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's why I'm able to do a cabin fever radio in Nashville with one of my best friends. And he flies in from everywhere. And we do a show that's dedicated for the growth of the cannabis industry. And I get to do it with my best friend. Yeah. And I get to do my West podcast with my classmate who I graduated with. Then another guy who I used to make fun of, Bryce Solomon, every single day because this linebacker dude wearing on this Miami jersey who looked like daggone Dan Morgan
with the long hair parted in the middle and everything. So.
I said, you know what? He gonna be my new friend.
Yeah. A Florida State and a Miami guy got together and became good friends.
Ain't that something?
Isn't that something? So
yeah. And you know what? Sure. We've never gotten to an argument over Miami. It's like We never get into an argument.
No, because when you all are better, you're better, and when we're better, we're better.
We're
That's just
better,
how it
exactly.
works. Simple as that. So yeah. All right, so I'm bringing him on right now. Whether you're watching this live or recorded, wherever you're watching it from, because we got people in other states that watch this show, obviously. I want to give a round of applause.
Give a round of applause.
Stand up and give him a warm Rebels with a Cause welcome. The one, the only, Coach Chris Lindsay, baby. The Doctor of Style. W's up, man. So, how are you doing tonight, Coach?
If I got any better, I couldn't stand it, James. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, I'm doing good, buddy. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I love you, Coach.
Glad to be here. Love you too, BT.
Love you, Coach.
But you know, Coach, you are the foundation. You are the rock. I feel like you embody what we embody as being a rebel and understanding the culture and embodying the school. The question I have to ask you that I've always wanted to ask you that I could not ask you as a young man, who is the first person to ever bust your ass?
You mean it in a school?
Actually, in basketball, like in
basketball, because you were all everything. You're all everything.
Oh.
In each of these sports, because you don't speak West if you don't speak Chris Lindsay.
Well, I don't know. I like to think I didn't let anybody do that, but you know, I guess maybe that's my Lonsdale roots that you never say
Lonsdale the building, baby.
Look at that, baby.
You don't get the best of me. I mean, I grew up on Vermont Hill and Pennsylvania Avenue at Rural High School, and that was a tough bunch of kids. And my uncle was the head football coach there when I was a little guy, and I hung around there all the time. And he was my mentor. His name was D.M. Miller, and he later served on the school board and was assistant superintendent of the city schools. But anyway, he was my parents both went to Rural High School. My dad actually was a starting guard on the Rural basketball team with a fella named Gus Manning, who a lot of people may know who Gus is. Yep. So he and my dad were starting guards at Rural High School. Anyway, I don't know. I played against some really good players in basketball and baseball. I was thinking the other day I was getting off at Tazewell Pike, and I remember a young man that I grew up and played a lot of summer baseball with. He played at Catholic that got killed right before at that ramp. You know where I'm talking about, right? It leads to Hardy's there at Party City, the now departed Party City. And I thought about that kid. He had already signed the scholarship papers to play at Tennessee, and he got killed at that spot right there, 18 years old. So that kid, I don't know if I should call his name or not. I actually wound up coaching his little brother on the freshman team at West. You know, my last few years at West, they wouldn't let an administrator coach. And I had our freshman coach walked away and took another job. So school's already started, and I don't have nobody to coach the freshmen. Now, this is the team with Tukey and the boys. And so anyway, I said, well, if y'all will let me, I'll come in at 6:30, and I'll coach the freshmen. And then at 8 o'clock, I'll put the coat and tie on, and I'll be in the office. So, we got to do that. And so on that team, I had that young man that was fatally injured, his little brother on the team. And I thought, well, that was kind of a full circle that, we wound up back together. But anyway, all right. Ask what you want to ask.
Well, what I wanted to ask too, Coach, right off the bat, to kind of follow up off of before we talk about the team from 25 years ago and that special run that you guys went on, who was your favorite coach to go up against? Whether it was locally, like in basketball, who did you love matching wits with? Every time you guys played.
James, it's so funny you asked me that today. I was at Park West Hospital, and I was walking in. My girlfriend had fallen and broke her ankle a few weeks ago, and has 12 screws in it and a couple of plates, and she blew it out good. So anyway, we're going into TOA down at Park West, and I walked through the door, and there stands Johnny Darden. Now, Johnny Darden, the legend of Rural High School.
I remember the name. Yeah,
And a long time friend of mine.
Legend.
Coach Darden was one of the best coaches that here. Let me throw some names, and these may not mean anything to you because I'm old. Vernon Osborne, Alcoa, incredible coach. Lynn Sexton, who recently passed away, many years head coach at Farragut. Johnny Darden, who coached at Rural, Carter, and CAK in his career. And we played old man softball together for many years until I blew my arm out. I mean, I have been Clifford Ross at Austin East, John Foster at Austin East, coaches, Mark Blevins at Bearden.
Yeah.
I mean, it was always great to go up against Mark. I mean, I'm going to forget some people here, but I mean, I felt like I was fortunate to have coached against really some legendary people. Mm-hmm. A big challenge for me, because we were friends, was to try to beat Johnny Darden in Rural. I mean, it was, and we're close to each other, and I always, because I thought Johnny was as good as they got.
Gotcha. Well, I was just curious about that. So let's talk about this, Coach, because, unfortunately, another year's passed. West Boys has not won a district tournament title. And, the school's been around for now 75 years, 75 years. If everybody thinks about that, that's 3/4 of a century. And truth be told, you guys won it at the time when we were getting close to that 50th anniversary and so forth. And, if you can talk about, because I felt that the tournament was a lot harder back then than it is now. You're talking about the teams you're playing. There is no such thing as a bye. Basically, your regular season got rewarded with your seeding, and then basically you went from there mano a mano over the next 3 days. Talk about that, Coach, of that different time, because some of our viewers may not know that's how it was back then 25 years ago, and even maybe before that.
Well, when I came to West and became the head coach in the 1981-82 season, we were a AAA school with the Beardens and the Farraguts and the Powell. We were AAA schools. What happened at West was a couple of things. When I was a student there, we had like 254 in my senior class. But I watched over that first few years, the senior class is getting less than 200, we were shrinking. And we got about 1985, I'm going to guess. We got moved down to AA because of enrollment. That was the worst thing that happened to us, because we got moved into the district. I'm not playing Farragut and Bearden and those Maryville anymore. At that point in time in the 80s, I'm playing Austin East. I'm playing Rural. I'm playing Alcoa. I'm playing Holston. I'm playing, in the 8 years that we were in AA, 4 state champions came out of our district. I mean, I saw players like in my first year as head coach, we played Austin East, which started Rob and Rod Jones. Rob, who went on to play for Tennessee. Rod went and played for ETSU. The guards were William Joey Clinkscales, who later became a wide receiver at Tennessee and with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Leroy Thompson was the other starting guard, who went on to play at Penn State and played fullback or tailback for the Pittsburgh. I mean, 4 out of their 5 guys were just incredible athletes. And we're shrinking. We're losing kids right and left. Why are we losing kids? Well, for one, we don't have a direct feeder school. We get some kids from here, some kids there, wherever. We don't have that kid like at Halls that walks across the driveway from the middle school to the high school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We don't have that. Bearden had Bearden Jr. Rule even had Rule Jr. We had no, like I told you earlier, freshman team.
All y'all had was Tyson Jr. at that point, right?
Do what?
I said all y'all had was Tyson Jr. at that point, right?
We had some from Northwest, and we had Tyson, which was tiny.
Yeah.
And it eventually closed. It was shrinking up like West was.
Yeah.
So it was really difficult to have the kind of continuity and flow that, in particular, the county schools, Carter, Powell, Halls, Carnes. Now, that's another thing that hurt us. In the early 70s, Bearden built a brand new school.
Yep.
So everybody wanted to go to the brand new school. I understand that. But in the 80s, Carnes opened a brand new school.
Yeah, because their old one had burned down and the new one was built up, right?
Yeah.
Because
So
I live out in Carnes now, so.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. I mean, if you don't have, as I was telling y'all earlier, if you don't have that feeder system, that I mean, you'd see a kid and you'd think that kid's going to come play for me, and then the next thing you know, he's at Carnes.
Yep.
What? So,
Wow.
I mean, and this wasn't uncommon either. We had a girl when in that time in the 80s who was a good basketball player, big girl, tall girl, who played at West. She was captain of our girls' basketball team. Her little brother, who grew to be 7 feet tall and wound up playing college and pro basketball, went to Carnes. She was at West, and little brother goes to Carnes.
Wow.
Yeah, that still happens today, Coach. Like I know some kids who live in one area and play in another area. So,
Wow.
But anyway, so AA was a bad thing for us. Like I say, those were some really strong teams, and 4 out of 8 years champions. So then we moved back into the 90s. We moved back into AAA. We were still small for AAA. Actually, us and Powell were the two smallest. We were put into AAA by an eyelash, you know. AA would have been better because Holston had closed, Rule had closed. You know, the competition had thinned down in AA. We need to be there.
Talk about it, Coach. Talk about it, Coach.
I'm telling you, brother. I'm telling you. So, but what happened in the 90s is we kind of got the Carnes and the Bearden effect. They started renovating our school. Now, you're talking about how long it took to win the district tournament. In 1950, the spring of 1950, Knox High closed. And the city built 4 high schools, East, West, South, and Fulton. Now, I don't know what compass direction Fulton is.
They don't even know, Coach.
No,
they don't even know. But keep going. So yeah,
Boy Scouts. I've never seen the F on there. You know. And, that's Boy. Look at the Fulton Star. I mean, what? I mean, that's not. Anyway.
It was BFE. That's what that was.
That's what that is. So yeah.
Fulton became Knox High School. Moved down the road just a little.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Yeah, my grandfather went to Knox.
Yeah. So,
but
I mean,
best thing ever was going to West because I said the best thing ever was going to West because I felt like I got the best version of myself in a place where I had to learn how to a work ethic. You know what I'm saying? Like West taught me how to work. West taught me how to study. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Coach Lindsay, you taught some valuable principles, and I felt like the day you cut me and Coach Pecco had to tell me, I said, man, I'm about to bust everybody ass every year. I said, Todd Love, you on my hit list. I love you. but it's like you built that work ethic in me because you said you should try to be a commentator. And then it went from baseball to soccer to football to now I've been doing basketball and I've never taught a class for 19 years. I get to travel the world where I talk about medicinal cannabis with Tree Gang. And I'm having the time of my life because my coach said, be the best version of you every day.
Oh, Two-Pair, before you continue, though, you do have a new nickname. You're now known as Professor Tate by the Pellissippi students. So you actually now
I'm
are
teaching classes at
You're
Pellissippi.
teaching classes at Pellissippi. So he's now
yeah,
Professor
so
Tate.
me and Tree Gang, come here, Tree, real quick. Come here. Look, he's got to fly out to Colorado. Look, so he's got to fly out, and he's one of the biggest. He's one of the biggest reasons why we got in this medicinal cannabis industry because it's helped people with kidney disease like myself, cancer patients, and for all the stuff that this guy does, I really want to thank him. Because he's a product of Oak Ridge and he was hell on the field.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I like to hear, Tree. That's what I like to hear. So.
He's the Oak Ridge tree.
Yes. All right, I like that. So
good coaches. I love Coach Carringer out there back in the day, and Coach Ricky Norris. Yeah, I coached against Ricky when he played at Carnes, and
I ended up also going to Clinton and playing for the Dragons with Coach Chris Lockard.
I coached against him as a player, and I loved his dad, Dandy Don. He was quite the character.
That was my pops right there. Yeah.
Every time you made a call in a summer camp game you were reffing, you could hear Dandy Don over there. Unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Hey, going off on any and everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don Lockard, the king.
Yeah. Hey, Don's the best. Don and Chris too.
But we're trying to get this Pellissippi State class. We're doing the study of the effects of marijuana, and we're really trying to push this to the legislature because ever since we got on this medicinal marijuana,
CBDs, the swabs, it's better than the stuff that Shaq rub on his bones.
After dialysis, I feel like I can run maybe a 2K, maybe a 5K.
Well, I probably should have just, burned a couple of blunts and not took all that radiation I just went through.
I'm just glad you still have your hair, to be honest with you. I thought that was going to go.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
You can get this stuff and rub it on your back, your shoulders, and feel good. Get that icy hot, cool feel.
Oh, I like that icy hot. Every baseball player knows icy hot.
Coach, let me, Coach, can I tell you what it puts me in the body of?
What's that, babe?
It puts me in the body of trying to get on that summer league team so that that Stuart Oaks is right there. Isaac Wilson is right there. You got to see Spencer Davis. See, you put that in me to be like, you know what? I'm not working hard enough to see Chad Davis, Brian Stanford, Brian Griffith. I wasn't working hard enough, Coach. I wasn't working hard enough, Coach.
Hey, you got to work like Kill Dog, baby. That's what you got to do.
You got to work.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you a question before you go.
Yes, sir.
I don't know when you're going, but do you know the softball coach down at Pellissippi State? Have you met her?
No.
Well, you need to meet her. She's a West High graduate.
Really?
Yeah. She played basketball, softball, volleyball. 2000. She might have graduated in 99.
You talking about Courtney Lindsay?
Huh?
Is it Courtney Lindsay?
Courtney played with her. No, it ain't Courtney. No.
Can I tell you something? Your daughters are some of the most athletic. Oh my God.
Yeah, they all. Yeah, I mean they followed after Dad. I mean that's awesome.
Oh my God, like Courtney Kanan. Oh my God,
Cassidy. Yeah.
Cassidy in volleyball.
Yeah. Cassidy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now who's having the baby? Is it Cassidy?
It's Kanan, mate.
Kanan.
Okay.
Let me tell you about Kanan.
Okay.
I got to give you this is my favorite Kanan story.
Okay.
My first year announcing baseball.
Uh-huh.
Kanan used to come up to that press box and she was my spotter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got contacts. Kanan became my spotter.
That's awesome. Now that's a good story. I like hearing that.
So Kanan used to be my spotter. She used to be the DJ.
Yeah.
Kanan was the DJ.
Yeah.
She picked all the up the bat songs for the guys like Mr. Dean Farmer, Mr. Jason Gendruco.
Yeah.
Mr. Tim Martin throwing that heat. That heat.
You know,
Mr. Chase Anderson.
I hear from JJ Gendruco. I hear from him every now and then.
And Derek Norman.
Yeah.
And how good was Mathis in the outfit? Like when coach, man, you built, man. I love you, God.
Real quick,
I love you.
Real quick, because I know
I love you, Coach. I love you, Coach.
I love you too, BT.
All right, I know we're kind of getting short on time. We got about 20 minutes left on the show.
Okay.
But here's the thing. So I want to talk about the basketball real quick.
Okay.
Notice that he didn't mention Bryce Solomon, but I got my dig in real quick.
Let me tell you about Bryce.
Yeah, let me hear the Bryce story. Let's hear it is.
No, Bryce is terrific. I'm just telling you how old I am.
Okay.
His dad's a couple of maybe a year or two older than me, and his dad's named Bucky, and Bucky worked for the state highway department for like 35 years. But when I was growing up playing ball at Inskip Norwood, Bucky, Bryce's dad, was and later played at Central. Bucky was one of the best shortstops ever. I mean, he was incredible, and that's Bryce's dad. Great shortstop. Anyway, all right, go ahead.
All right, so let's talk about that team from. All right, so now you've had some. You're in the 90s. Now you get to this bunch. I mean, and you had a very special senior class. I mean, you had Mike Morrow. You mentioned off camera Mike Maddox and the heroics that he really brought to the table. You also had a real good supporting cast. You had Alton Thompson, who was an amazing football and basketball player.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spencer Davis, Troy Mapp. I mean, I can go on. But that was your starting five. And, talk about what went into that season, because you had really such it's still a bloodbath, but you had the Marivals, the Farragut's, the Beardens, South Doyle, Sevier County, you mentioned. I mean, talk about, what went into that season. And did you think that you had a chance to maybe have a special season when you were going into it, Coach?
Well, yeah, I did. Because we had got to a point by the end of the 90s where we had established some continuity. Now, I want to tell you the story about probably the best basketball player ever at West High School in my time. His name was Marlon Bussell.
Yeah.
The GOAT!
Mark, go ahead.
There is an old school rhyme that we say at West High School, if you know about Marlon Bussell.
Okay.
So every day I try to rise above the struggle, but I be damned, I better have some hustle like my name was Marlon Bussell.
Wow, I like
that.
I
better have some hustle. If you're a rebel and you don't have hustle like Marlon Bussell, that means you probably in life, you're going to have a little bit of struggle, stumble. Because if you hustle like Marlon Bussell, you will rise above every in undeniable struggle. Like if you think I can't beat kidney disease, how about waking up to go to conditioning every single day so you get one of those shirts and you wear that shirt and you are a representation of the great Marlon Bussells, like the great Olderson family.
Yeah, and we had Big O. Yeah, and we had Big O on last year, and he told stories about Marlon Bussell, 50-something points in a game or something. I mean, the greatness of Marlon Bussell.
Here's the thing, and I got, when you coach, sometimes you have to realize you're going to have to make decisions. I used to tell Bill Wilson, you got the easiest job in the world. If the kid's got a pulse and is still sucking in air, you can give him a helmet and a set of shoulder pads and make his parents happy because he's on the football team. He may never cross the white line to get out there at all, but mom and dad and grandma and grandpa was all sitting up there going,
I'm using
That's Johnny. He's number 6.
that one this fall. I'm using that one this fall.
I mean, I thought, and I coach 2 sports back to back, where I'll have 50 kids or more come out, and I have to get down to a dozen or so.
Yeah.
There was nothing that ripped my guts out harder than making a cut list.
Yeah.
I mean, there was nothing. You can ask Coach Roberts. You can ask Coach Petco. When it got time to put the cut list up, we were probably there till 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
What about this? What about that? What, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
we're looking at grades. We're looking at this. Okay, we're looking at. I mean, it was not taken lightly.
Yeah.
It was hours we spent. We talked about it for days,
Yeah.
but then it was hours. But let me tell you, Marlon, real quick.
Oh yeah.
Mark-
I gotta hear this. I gotta hear this, Coach.
All right,
You gotta hear this.
Marlon came from Carter Middle.
Mm.
Okay, so here again, we still got that people coming from here, there, but we remedied it some. But I decided that year we had 6 different middle schools out of 12 slots. We've got to do something to get chemistry building. So Marlon comes in as a freshman. God, he's tremendous, tiny, but he's an incredible player. So Coach Petco and I sat down and I said, Coach, this is what we're going to do. I said, if you're a freshman, you're going to play on the freshman team. I don't care if you're as good as Marlon. You're going to play on the freshman team so you start to build a team over the next 4 years.
Yep.
Was Marlon good enough to start on the varsity with the varsity players I had that year? Oh, no doubt. But I wanted to build an attitude of winning and consistency.
A culture, a program. You were building a program, a culture.
So that team, led by Marlon, became, and this is the winner mentality, they were Knox County freshman champions. Aha. Now we're going to expect to be champions.
Yes.
So that continued the rest of the time I was there. If you were a freshman, you're going to play on the Now I had a kid a couple of years later. I won't call his name, but I'd seen the kid play. He was taller, lankier, and probably as good as Marlon.
I know the name.
Okay. We'll keep that between us.
Exactly. Because you know why?
Huh?
Because you know why? I understand, because when I heard that story and I said, you know what? I'm going to persevere.
Yeah.
You taught me perseverance, because if you don't learn how to persevere, that's the best thing that ever happened to me, is getting cut. Yeah. It humbled me. It said, you know what? I'm nice, but you ain't that nice. You ain't that good. Well, guess what?
Strive for be better.
Say what?
Some people have to be motivated a little more.
That's right.
And guess what? You got me to hang out with millionaires now. I appreciate it.
I love your recipe, Coach.
I love your recipe, Coach. Real recipe.
To making a warrior.
So Coach, so you were telling the story that so he was lanky, he was a little bit.
Listen, he was the best kid coming out of the 8th grade, because I'd go watch the middle school tournament and I'd see the best players in town, and I would hope some of them would come to West, you know. But anyway, this kid comes to West. Awesome. So he said, Coach, I'm going to tell you, because he had seen what had happened with Marlon. He said, I ain't playing on the freshman team. I said, I don't think that's up to you. I said, I make the decisions about that. And I said, you will play on the freshman team because it works. Would he been good enough to start varsity? Just like Marlon. Ain't no doubt. So he comes out, or he doesn't come out. He doesn't even play. He plays rec ball. I'm like, you went from middle school to playing rec ball? You don't even want to play high school? So he comes to me in the spring and he says, I've grown up a little bit. He says, I'm going to play my sophomore year. I said, okay, good. I hope I don't slip and call his name. Anyway,
don't call his name.
so the kid comes out, and BT was alluding to it. We did what we called the 21-day Rebel run. We had 21 days. We worked out after Labor Day up on the track, and we don't run distance. I believe in running sprints.
Yes.
Because sprints, basketball is a game of sprints. It ain't a game of distance. So anyway, this kid comes up there, and I had a rule that said, now, if you can run 3 miles in under 13 minutes, you don't have to come to the 21 days. But if you come to the 20 days, the first 20 days, and show up every day, you don't have to run the run.
And I didn't. And but I learned valuable lessons. Like, everything was mental.
Yeah.
It was like, how are you pushing yourself to the ultimate maximum? Are you cheating? And it's like, when you cheating yourself on those hundreds, you're cheating the progress of a team. Yeah. And I never understood that to now, to where I'm like, dang, I see what Coach Lindsay was saying on this on Flex. I see what Coach Lindsay is saying on Maryland. I see what Coach Lindsay is saying on Utah. It's because I started studying the game, and I wasn't studying the game. I wasn't a student of the game until I had to start busting Stewart ass in the summer, and Stewart had to bust my ass.
Do baby.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, this kid comes up. He comes up there like he's going to run, and the rec center used to be open. It's a weight room now, but it was a rec center back then.
Yeah.
And he was telling his mama he was coming up there to run. I'd stand up there on the track. I could see the weight room, that rec center. He was going down there playing basketball after school, having his mama pick him up. He's covered in sweat. And he's saying, Mama, boy, we ran hard today. He never even got to the track. So anyway, he didn't think I was watching him. So he comes up there on the day 21. He's going to run 3 miles in 13 minutes. Ain't happening. So anyway, he runs around the track twice and hides under the home football stands until almost everybody's done. I mean, I'm like, dude, you think I'm blind? And so the last several guys come in near the 13-minute mark. He comes out from the stands like, man, I've run that thing. I said, dude, I watched everything you did. I said, you've been down there playing in the rec, telling Mama you've been running, and then you come up here and try to act like you just ran 3 miles in 13 minutes. I said, that ain't happening.
Damn.
So anyway, he blew that year. So the next thing,
6-minute mile. I want to see that.
So the next thing the kid is the starting point guard at Fulton. So anyway, for the next 2 years.
Huh.
But that's okay. Yeah. You're going to do what everybody else does, or you're not doing. BT will tell you, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
Choose. Life is about choices. You can choose to do it the right way, or you can choose to do it the wrong way.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right.
So going into the season, we've talked, because we had Big Mike Morrow on last year, and he talked about how the team felt Coach Petco's loss when he lost his mom, and you also had some injuries to some players, and depth purposes. But talk about, what did you all do that, like you said off camera, it's that camaraderie. You can have all the athleticism, you can have all the talent, but if you all don't like each other as a team, you're not going to go anywhere.
Well, and that was the thing that after 49 years, that was the thing that we finally got to. I mean, there was a lot. I mean, this team actually liked, loved, and cared about each other. We had one kid on the team who I'd known since the 8th grade who had really nowhere to live. And every night, somebody took that kid home. He had all of his stuff in a cardboard box, in his box, and what he didn't have, he used his locker in the locker room as his closet. somebody took him home, different people, every night, and fed him and gave him a bed to sleep in. So that's the kind of thing that separated this team from any team I'd had to that point, was the way that they looked out for each other. And you know, these kids were unselfish. They were all for each other. I always preach to my teams, basketball, and this is not rocket science. Basketball is a tournament sport. You can stink it up for the most part all season long, but if you're ready to play at tournament time, great things can happen.
Mm-hmm.
I had a team in 94, 95, James, that I think we were maybe 8 and 16. Great kids, just couldn't play very much. I had probably, it was a little later. Yeah, I don't know, 94 or somewhere in there. Anyway, they were great kids, but there was only like 2 or 3 that were legitimate high school basketball player, AAA basketball players.
Mm.
And like you're talking about, we wound up having to play the number 1 team on opening night. 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, the old. Now, I'm going to tell you, I changed that at one time. There's a better way to do tournaments than that. But anyway, everybody gets stuck in their ways.
Mm.
So anyway, we had to play number 1 team. Number 1 team was Gatlinburg Pittman. The only advantage we had, we were playing at West. We were hosting. We opened up 1 versus 8. It should be a blowout. This team has a 6'10" kid who goes on to play basketball at Ole Miss. They have a 6'5" kid that plays point guard who goes on to play for the Naval Academy. Coach DeVoe signed him.
Mm.
Wow. Okay.
We beat them suckers.
Mm.
We're like, even my kids were like, did we just do that? And I'm looking at Coach Roberts and saying, did we just do that? We, they came in, they're flat. They don't, they see West, they won 8 games. They're the number 8 seed. It's a tournament sport. You've got to be ready to play at tournament time. When the season's over, the season's over. Regular season, those are tune-up games.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're going to play the games that matter. And that's the way I always
preach.
Is that you can have 22 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
You can have 22 wins and you come out and stink it up for a night or two, and you're packing them in mothballs, baby.
Hey, we gone fishing. You went fishing.
No.
Hey, I was getting out the fungo bat because I was about to hit fly balls from that. So
you know what? In seeing as many games now, like I've been at the school 19 years, I haven't taught a class yet, but I guess I'm teaching something that where these kids love it. Like they think I just have a whole bunch of shoes and I just donate them to the school. But what kills me though is I now understand everything you said when I'm watching kids now, and I'm like, why are they doing? You know what? It's a game within a game now. Like I didn't understand that until I started coaching more and I started having to announce more. Like when I got to UT is when I noticed everything you ever said to me, Coach. Everything. When I had to be a beat.
BT, that's my job. I'm a teacher, first of all.
Yeah.
That's what they pay me to be. I always took pride in what I taught in the class.
Real quick, Coach, I know the answer. Can you tell the audience how many licensures do you have?
9.
9. He can teach 9 different subjects, by the way, still, if he wanted to. So,
Yeah. Now, I love teaching your econ. Because that's where you learn life stuff.
Yeah.
And I would bring those people in there from JA and stuff that were out in the world. And they would tell you, like what a Roth IRA is. Or
the don't touch account. The don't touch account was the greatest thing I ever learned in your class. Yeah. And I thank Rand Thomas for letting me say that to you. Hey, Red Thomas, wherever you are, Red Thomas, the don't touch account.
Yeah.
I love you, Coach. I love you, Coach.
What's the other account? You got a don't touch, but you got what you can call a put and take.
Yes.
You're a
The
little money,
hey,
put a little money in, take a little out. That's fine. But you don't touch. You don't touch. So
don't touch it. It's not there. It's not there.
That's right.
Just act like you don't have it.
Man, Coach, when you first said the most imaginary money in that econ class, I put my Slam magazine down and I said, you know what? This is what he just taught me, the demand and the supply. And then he taught me the greatest marketing concept that we use on Rebels with a Cause. Can you throw that on the banner, please?
Yeah, I can definitely do that. You know, it's funny, Coach. Here's something else. The fact that was such an important class, and they tried to cram it in 9 weeks. It needed the whole 18 weeks, to be honest with you. I mean, so,
but I love. Yeah. Can I give a shout out to Coach Roberts?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, government.
I'm gonna say this about Coach Roberts.
Yeah.
When you learn the branches of the government and the policies and procedures that get us to the land that we have today, you need to take ownership of these voting rights. You need to look at curriculums. That's why we here at the Rebels with a Cause, we're giving media training to our young student athletes.
Yeah.
When we're giving these interviews.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
I don't want to cut you off. But Steven Johnson, who's a big fan of the show, he asked, would someone ask Coach what's the most talented team he's ever coached? The most talented.
I would say that had the most talent would have been the team with Diedrich and Big O and that was they were really talented. They were really small.
Brian Durrell.
One of my favorite stories is, at the end of practice, we're out there at midcourt and we're talking about, okay, here's what we're doing tomorrow, whatever, we'll just wrap it up, practice. So one day we're standing there getting ready to go in the locker room, and Diedrich pulls his shirt up, his tank top, and says, "Hey, Coach, look at this six-pack." I said, "Diedrich, that's pretty impressive." And then I heard Big O pulled his shirt up and he goes, "That ain't nothing, D. Look at this keg."
Yeah, it is Big O right there.
Big O.
I love it.
I thought I was going to die laughing. That team had this team right here had some good, all these kids, we had a lot of players that could play. Mm-hmm. And we had to have them because we wouldn't have got to that championship because we did have a ton of injuries.
Jordan Smith goes out with the fractured jaw.
Jordan Smith's in street clothes. I think I see Andy in street clothes as well.
Stephen
Harmon's in street clothes. Stephen's daddy was over at my house Sunday, actually, Ivan.
Hey, what up, Ivan?
They just celebrated a big anniversary, his parents, actually. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well,
clap it up.
I'll give a shout out for Ivan. He's running for city council again.
Okay.
He's never going to lose.
He always wins.
And here's the worst part. As the OE teacher, I'm his treasurer. So when he asked me to do the job, I said, "Okay, Ivan, do I need to go ahead and hire a lawyer now to help protect?" I said, "I don't know about you politicians. When it comes to money, I get a little frightened. But anyway, I see my boy Paul Ledbetter up there in that picture.
I'm gonna move out of the way.
Yeah,
there you go. Look at him. Yeah, Big Mike's holding the title, so the trophy.
Big Mike was one of the best kids ever. We were so glad when he came from Catholic.
Yeah, and he told that. I didn't know that about him, that he was a Catholic that came over to West. So he was a great addition. Did a great job for us. Good free throw shooter. Good player. Yeah. And wasn't Mike Maddox's mom like a school board? She was on the school board, wasn't
she?
Margaret.
Yeah,
I remember.
Yeah, great family.
I can't remember what Coach said it, but they always said if it wasn't for Webb and Catholic, we would have a whole bunch more athletes.
Yeah. Yeah,
True.
they always kind of hurt us. But you know what's funny? We got a lot of kids that came back to West after a couple of years or so at Catholic or Webb, and they're kind of like, either the parents didn't want to spend the money anymore, or really, here's the thing. I got 3 daughters, 2 went to Powell. They raised them in Powell. Courtney, my oldest, of course, went to West.
Yep.
And my
The
other
GOAT.
my other 2 girls got a good education, went on and played college volleyball. They did good. But Courtney has said to me on more than one occasion, Dad, thank you so much for taking me to West and letting me go to West High School.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
mean,
I'd have let
look,
your other sisters come if they wanted.
I grew up a mile and a half from Bearden, but I was known for West.
yeah.
And going to West was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because if it was a melting pot of all of Knoxville.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You had everybody from Lonsdale, Mechanicsville, Western Heights, Cumberland States, West Hills, Westmoreland, Sequoia Hills, all coming in to one place.
Yeah.
And you learn how society functions.
Well, just look at that basketball team.
Yeah.
Look at that basketball team.
Look at the different levels of kids, socioeconomic levels of kids
Davis.
in that picture. I mean, we got kids with lots of money. We got kids with almost no money.
Yeah.
They all looked after each other.
Yep.
And they were teammates. That's all
Stuart
they
Oaks
were.
is my brother. He's my actual brother.
Yeah.
Like,
as a coach now, because I've coached multiple sports, I've taken a little bit from every one of the coaches that I had at West, or that were my teachers, and try to implement that into what I do as a coach to mentor my players to make them successful in life. Like I was saying earlier before we went on, that we don't take the winning shot, we don't make that last hit, we don't make that last shot, we don't make that last touchdown. We just set them up for success, and that's our job, is to set these young men and women, because I've coached all 3 of my kids in sports, to be the best that they can be outside of sports.
And you only have them for a short time.
Yep.
You know, you only have them. You're only in their life for a short time.
Yep.
So it's your responsibility as a teacher and a coach, in my opinion, to impart as much good information into them and help with as many values as you possibly can that they can take with them out the door.
Yeah.
Something besides that sheepskin.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I never had a basketball player in all those years sign a Division I basketball scholarship. Never. Not a one.
I've lucked out with one.
I did not know this, Coach.
I didn't know that.
I've lucked out with one football player.
Hold on, Coach. Never.
But you set us up for success as men.
Well, yeah, and thank you. But I had now some kids, you know, I had some kids play. Walter State plays pretty good JUCO basketball.
Yes, they do.
I had some kids go there and play. I had some kids go, you know, Marlon.
The game wasn't covered like it is now.
Huh?
The game wasn't covered like it is now.
Right.
Like, think about this, Coach. We are students from 2002, 2003. We do a podcast about our school.
Yeah.
In this day and age.
I love it.
You see what I'm saying? Like, people are building. We're building these relationships with all these sports entities in Atlanta, and they're covering these schools now. The coverage on the kids is different. We didn't have what we have now. Now the kids have rivalry Thursdays. Now they got Friday night hoops that Rebels with a Cause is being the start of. Like, it's gonna be bigger than what we ever imagined.
Well, when I was coaching, I always had to find some kid to get. Can you come tonight and run the video camera? I mean, we didn't have Huddle. We didn't have, you know.
Huddle is the greatest thing ever. I love Huddle.
I have stacks of VHS tapes of some of the best high school basketball games West ever played in my office. I mean, I've got, I don't know how many, 60, 70.
Do you have the district tournament championship win over?
I'm sure I probably do.
We need to get all this converted. Let's get all of this converted.
It needs to be put on jump drives and saved, honestly. So
I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What is your best memory in all your years at West outside the district championship?
This just off the top of my head, this is a loss. Okay, this is not a game we won. We lost by 1 or 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
King's Academy, it's a boarding school.
Yeah.
And their coach up there, I'd known him and his dad for a long time. And he had put together this team in the 90s, mid-90s at King's Academy. He had a center that was 6'10", and went on to play at St. Joseph's.
Okay.
He had a forward who was looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger in a basketball suit. His name was Stone. He went and played for Lipscomb.
Okay.
He had a point guard named Walker. Now, let's see. The whole team was made up of foreigners back before foreigners were common here. I mean, Wales, England, Argentina. The 2 guard was from Argentina. So they were loaded for bear. And we had a lead, and this Stone kid, Arnold, I'll call him, he shot at least a 35-foot three. Like he was shooting an 8-footer. I mean, this kid was a horse.
Steph Curry before Steph Curry.
Yeah. I mean, this kid I'm like, are you kidding me? He might have been standing on the scores table. I can't remember. It was just so far away. But anyway, we had one chance to, I think it was to tie the game. And we ran a little, play for Marlin. Why would you not run a play for Marlin? So we ran a little play for Marlin. Marlin at 5'7" on a good day went down through the lane, and the 6'10" guy and the 6'7" guy, they just knocked the slop out of him. I mean, there is no question. He knocked him to the floor.
And no call was probably made.
And I'm out there getting, I'm about to go nuts, and those officials are running a sprint to the locker room. But I mean, that's a team we shouldn't even been on the floor with.
That just shows the competitiveness they had in the tournament.
Yeah. I mean, so when you see kids, I had a little team one time that won 8 games. They lost 6 games by an average of 3 points, kind of like the Lady Vols are doing. And, and they weren't a talented team, but they played so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, they were one of my favorite teams with 8 wins, but
I
they
got to
played
ask you
so hard.
I got to ask you, Coach.
Yeah.
So my senior year, you told me something was very valuable because you told me something it was actually my junior year because I think this was one of those tough cuts.
They're all tough. I promise you, they were all tough.
Were there too many guards like me, AB, Chad, and Brian? Was that way too many guards? Well,
you can't. Listen. Now, BT, you watch my teams long enough to know that size really didn't matter to me because it couldn't. I didn't have any size to worry about. I mean, when you think about two guys over 6'3" in 24 years, size was never, that's why
we were never tall. We
weren't tall. I mean,
no. I mean, this team, you had Colin. He was just a sophomore, but he's just a big old soft kid. I mean, little Tom would have took his baby brother out and just ripped snot out of him.
I would have taken Tom any day over Colin.
Tom was calling all day long.
And Tom was a hell of a football player.
Yeah, he was.
Hell of a football player.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a good bunch of athletes right there.
That is a good bunch of athletes.
I'm looking at Bubba Childress right there next to.
Oh man, what a shooter, Bubba Childress! Oh my!
Hey,
coming off the bench. when I tell you, coming off the bench, I told Chris Childress, I said, man, you need to be a shooting coach.
Well, his big brother was one of the, I would say he's one of the 5 best players I ever had was Bubba's big brother.
Really?
Scott Childress.
Scott Childress.
First team all KIL.
Okay, so I got a memory for you, Coach, and I don't even know if you remember this or not, but I was a freshman at Bearden before I got kicked out and came to West. So here's what happened. I think one of your best wins was undefeated, led by 7 seniors, Rusty Strange and Bearden High School, Ian Andreessen. They come to West High School. Now, I'm a little freshman covering the basketball team, and West, I think, had a losing record, or you were 500, that team. And anyway, we're thinking this will be over by halftime or whatever. And I'm there at West High School in the Bearden student section, okay? And realistically, you guys played probably the best defense, let the air out of the ball, held the ball, took possession away from a team that liked to score. And damn it, you gave them their first 39-37. I'll never forget it. And Blevin was pissed at his guys afterwards. I had never seen them run so much the next day. I heard about it from Brandon McCormick because he was in my journalism class, and he was a kid that had the one arm or whatever, but he was a hell of a ball player, football and basketball at Bearden. And I heard all about, but you guys knocked off the Dogs and gave them their first loss. They were undefeated up to that point. And it was a district loss too. So
if you go in the gym and look at the water fountain on the left-hand side where we were standing it's still dented in.
Yes.
It's from that game.
It is from that game.
Yeah. Yep. That's what it happened. Yeah. That one didn't go well for them. Well, I mean, we pressed. My philosophy was you're going to be a whole lot taller than us. If we wait till you get in the half court to try to defend you, we're losing. We can't guard you.
The diamond press.
Yeah, and Rusty Strange went to play Murray State. He went to the Ohio Valley Conference.
What was the big blonde-headed kid's name? They had 2.
Ian Andreessen was on that team. I remember Horton was their point guard.
Players.
Yeah, they
had Gerald Hampton.
Gerald Hampton was a sophomore on that team, but he was playing a lot. But they were really the 7 seniors. Winston Robinson was the only freshman on that Bearden team, and he was 6'7". So Winston was playing on that team as a freshman. Him and Gerald and Alex Oliver were the 3 underclassmen. Everybody was a senior, and I think there was one junior, John Carlson, on that team. So
was that McClooney on that team?
I think he might have been one of the seniors. I think he would. I know Brad Horton was on there. So
Bearden still pulls off all the height kids. I don't know how.
Yeah, no, they had some big kids. So
Bearden was always really tall. I mean,
Rusty Strange was 6'10", 6'11".
He was my daughter goes to Bearden. She's graduated from there this year, and it's still just. Those kids all play together, like you're talking about how the chemistry and everything, because they basically all come from West Valley. They pull a couple Bearded Middle kids. And then bring a few kids in, but those kids all play together their whole lives over there. But those kids they're growing something different over there.
Yeah, they have different vitamins that they're taking. I don't know.
I need to talk to Coach Parrott, find out what he's giving his kids, because I need to give it to my son.
Tucker, how are we doing on time, bud? Because I do have a couple more questions, and I know we're at an hour and 13 minutes now. So,
all right. Yeah, we're bad.
Hey, man, this has been good stuff, man.
This is fun.
I gotta make sure that he doesn't miss this flight.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. If you have to take off, I mean, we'll finish it up, Coach. So let me ask you this. So you get to the district tournament. You were a 5 seed. So I need to correct myself. I was saying I thought you all were a 6. You're a 5 seed. You played Bearden that's a 4 seed. You'd split the games. You won at West. They won at Bearden. So now you're at South Doyle, day 1 of the tournament. Talk about what happened in that game.
The Bearden game.
Yeah. I mean, just tell me what you told me off camera, that, it was Bearden, then it was number 1 Maryville, and then you played Sevier County. I mean, go ahead.
We just, I don't know. I mean, we'd had a pretty good year. We'd beat some of those guys. We knew we were capable. And like I say, I preached all the time that, the regular season is just practice games. I mean, you play for seeding.
Yep.
And I said, we're playing 4-5. We're playing Bearden. We know we can play with Bearden. Let's just play with Bearden. We're on a neutral floor. They're not on our floor. We're not on theirs. Neutral site. Everything's even. They bought in. Then the next night we play Maryville. Maryville, Rodney Nelson's teams were always really good. And again, we just kind of, but of course they were all hard attack games, like I told you. I mean, it's like 3 wins with less than 10-point difference. But the championship game was really the scariest one because I can't recall it exactly, but we were down like 6 or 7 points with like 30, 40 seconds left to go in the game. And Troy Matt made a play and Alton made a play. And the next thing you know, we hit Alton hit 2 free throws to seal the game at the end and move us on to, into the region. So it was when a school doesn't get very many championships, basketball championships at Fulton are passe. I mean, we have them all the time, win them all the time. Hope football West. I hope West becomes that way in football. Hey, we just do this.
You know what? It's crazy because we're the football school, and everybody, was Coach being. I never thought I was known in the basketball circles until I started announcing at UT, and then my favorite basketball players know me, and I know my favorite basketball players. And there are guys and my friends that are like NBA guys or known. They be like, "Damn, you're West guys, man. What's going on?" Like, because they know they even follow. They follow this podcast, and they follow the kids now.
Okay, so let me ask a question. Where's West now? We lost.
I feel like West is a everything school.
Well, wait. What's your question? You're asking about where the boys' basketball team is? Okay, so here's what happened.
Give us the update.
All right, so here's what happened. They lost to Maryville. It was the 2 seed versus the 3 seed. West had a bye. Maryville had to beat William Blount to get to that game. West probably played the worst first half of ever. Played great in the second half, but it was just too big of a deficit.
Yeah.
Ended up losing by 5. So then that put West into the 3rd place game against Farragut, who lost by 7 to Bearden in the other game. So in the 3rd place game, Farragut, Dom Van Acker just went lit West up. He had almost 30 points. He's a hell of a player. And Farragut ends up winning 67-60. So technically, West was the 2 seed, 4th placed in the district tournament, and now has to go for the 2nd straight year to play Oak Ridge at the Terror Dome in Oak Ridge. And last year, Oak Ridge blew West off the court and played in the 4th quarter, boys to men's end of the road. So if any of those kids have any pride and you don't want to hear that again, go in there and kick their ass. Honestly, go kick their ass.
But see, this is what happens, Coach. Every home game that West wins, there's a Miami song from DJ Khaled, and there's a whole bunch. Guess
Guilty.
what,
Guilty.
Coach? There's a whole bunch of these kids throwing up these huge.
Yeah. W's. I'll finish it because he lost. Yeah. But Tuber, keep going. I'm sorry. You lost the feed. Keep going. So yeah, you're on mute.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Somebody was calling me. They're trying to get me to get to our scene to do this show. Yeah. It's not that far. It's like y'all know I'm the Black Dale Earnhardt because of Coach. I'm the Black Dale Earnhardt of Knoxville because of Coach Mays. And he said, Tate, you drive that Chevrolet like you the Black Dale Earnhardt of Knoxville.
Mm-hmm. But
Rest
Coach,
in peace to Coach Wilson. Rest in peace to Coach
but
Wilson.
Coach, to answer your question, so it's a tall task of what this team has put themselves in for the second straight year, because what has to happen is obviously you lose, it's over. But you've got to go to Oak Ridge, who is the other district champion and has only lost 3 games all year, and win there.
Yeah.
Then, if you're fortunate to win that one, you're going to play the winner of Bearden and Campbell County, which would be Bearden. Okay, and then to win that one, you're looking at probably a rematch with Maryville, who would probably play Powell, who finished runner-up at that point on the other side. So you'd have to beat basically 3 teams that are in the top 10. You were in the top 10 until you lost this tournament, and you made the hardest road possible, and it's not looking good. And if you get through all that, you're probably looking at either Science Hill or Sevier County, ironically, in the sub-state. And you got to win to host. Otherwise, you're traveling up to the Tri-Cities area, or Sevier County rather. So yeah.
Well, I'm gonna jump off here if you don't care in just a minute. Check on my daughter.
You're fine.
Okay, so here's one last thing I want to say about tournaments.
Sure.
I came up 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7. That's terrible basketball. 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6. Who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're number 1 and you lose to number 8, what? That don't happen.
Yeah.
Nobody comes. Grandma, grandpa, and mom and dad. That's all that's coming to see that.
Yeah.
What a wasted night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I developed what the guys in the district called the Lindsay bracket. Listen to this. 5 versus 8. 6 versus 7 on open night.
I like
You've got 2 competitive games.
Yes.
A 5 and an 8,
and
as opposed to an 8 and a 1.
Yeah. That's
You
no
got
point.
5 and 8.
Why?
They both got a chance.
Yeah.
6 versus 7. That's definitely a good game.
Yeah.
Then you get into the 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3.
Yes.
I mean, we did that for a few years, but it was so hard to convince the other coaches that this is better economics.
Yes.
Money at the gate.
It's all about how much money you can bring in for the game.
Coach,
it's a business. Wes taught me about business and politics.
Yeah.
It's a business.
Well,
Coach, business.
Coach, before we let you go, and I know we're going to wrap it up right here and so forth, because we'll finish up. And thank you so much for coming on. The one thing I did want to ask your opinion real quick. The TSSAA obviously has changed of who's going to be where, in football and basketball. So West is not even going to be playing in Bearden and Farragut's bracket anymore. They're now going to be playing the city schools, like Central, Halls, Powell. That's going to be the matchups now. But my question is, what were your thoughts personally that now there are you talking about travel and who's going to show up? The fact that they have changed that and they're going to really make some teams that had some good seasons travel. I mean, it made no sense of why they did that. I mean, especially this day and age. What's your thoughts on it being around the game as a player and as a coach and parent?
Well, in all those years I was in there, that happened to us sometimes. Sometimes that they would decide that we're going to use I-40 as the dividing line. So then you'd have schools south of I-40 in a region, and then you would have north. Then they would use 75. I mean, it just varied from time to time. I mean, there were times when I was in Bearden, Oak Ridge. I was in that district where I would be in a district with Anderson County. And I mean, they just change it sometimes. And I'm sure they have valid reasons for doing that. But in a way, I always kind of liked, I hate to say this, but in baseball, if Farragut's the king, right?
They are the king.
Yeah, we all know that.
Yeah, they're number 9 nationally, by the way. Number 9 nationally. So,
and they have been for years.
Yeah.
And I know when I was helping at Powell there at last couple of years, we wound up playing Farragut. We'd win our, with Carnes and Halls and
then you go play that. Yeah.
We'd go play them.
Yeah.
And there was like 13 signs, baseballs on the fence out there where they'd been to the state. Not won it, but been to the state. I told the Powell kids, I said, I was a part of 6 of those. Almost half of them. I said, go ahead, y'all beat me. But anyway, you know, I always felt like if I lost to Farragut, which usually happened, I'm going to come back and I was going to play somebody from that other district. I was going to win that game. And I was going to get another chance at Farragut. I mean, I go over there, I'd play Central, I'd play Powell, I'm not bad mouthing them, but I'm just telling them the facts. I didn't worry about it too bad. I mean, I'm like,
but you had teams like the guys that I just want to give some names. I want to throw some of my favorite. Can I throw out some of my favorite guys like the Chase Andersons, the Derek Normans? The Dean Farmers.
Well, it's a funny story about Derek. His dad and I went to high school together.
The GOAT, Tony Norman!
Yeah. And so when Derek came out for baseball as a freshman, he was just like most freshmen. He's just a regular little, like Dean. They were just small little dudes. And he wanted to play outfield and third base or whatever. And so, you're a freshman. You're mostly going to play JV anyway. So anyway, after his freshman year, I said, let me tell you, Derek's a catcher. And his dad, who was a third baseman, said, what? I said, the boy's a catcher. He said, no, seriously. I said, he's a catcher. KIO Player of the Year, full scholarship to Furman as a catcher, and goes on and plays for the Diamondbacks.
Wow.
So I never had a lot of pitching, but I always considered myself the catcher whisperer because I had more good catchers. And the same thing happened at Powell. I went to their tryouts. They had a little kid playing third and short. I said, dude, you're a catcher. He said, I've caught before. I said, bring your catching gear tomorrow. After his junior year, he signed with committed to Vanderbilt.
You are the catcher.
As a catcher.
We gotta make this a Rebels with a Cause documentary on Coach Lindsay and the catcher method.
Coach, I hope you can come out to a baseball game because they look to be very good, very improved. This coaching staff, they've invited us to come out to do a game day show from there. I mean, obviously they play the Farragut's, but I loved what the coach said. He loves the opportunity to play them because that's what's going to get them better.
Hey, listen. If you're going to be the best, you got to try to beat the best. So,
that's right.
When I used to worry more about playing Seymour than I did Farragut because of the mental letdown.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yes, it is.
I mean, baseball or basketball or even football, you come out here flat, anybody can beat you.
Anybody.
Just like the story I told you about us in Gatlinburg. There's no way we should have been on the floor with Gatlinburg Pittman with a 6'10" and a 6'5" Division I player. We didn't have a guy that could spell Division I, Anyway,
Coach, last thing real quick. Can you just sum up these young men, that special night, that special 3 days, I should say, with just a few words and what it's meant to you that you are still the only district tournament champs of all time, 77 years of school history?
James, I wish there was more. I wish I'd had more before that, more after that, and I wish there were. I hope we get back to that point where this is not the only one. I mean, that took 49 years. We don't need to wait 49 more because I won't be here to see it. So this was just a great group of guys who really, the continuity and the chemistry of that group of guys was as good as I've ever seen. Now, I've had other teams with good, with Big O and those guys. They were awesome too. But this team just kind of took care of each other, loved each other, believed in each other. And really, when I'm driving home from South Doyle that night, I really can't believe that just happened. really can't believe this week just happened with 3 wins against really good teams, really well coached teams. Just a great bunch of guys. And like I say, I hate we didn't have a couple. My last season was in 2003. I wished I'd had a couple more going out the door, but I hope whoever's there in the future, who's there now, I hope they get them. I don't necessarily want us to not keep winning.
Absolutely.
Fellas,
I think this guy right here.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
I think this guy right here, this guy that's right next to me on this screen.
Yep.
I really think the program is in such good hands.
It is.
Yeah. Like he exemplifies the culture of letting these guys understand you got to figure it out as a team.
Yeah.
And when you watch his coaching style, it kind of reflects the principles of where the great legend Pat Riley Lindsay started.
Hey, I was about to ask you what kind of suits does he wear?
He doesn't. No, he doesn't wear that. No,
Oh, I know.
I'm the one wearing the suits in the stands. So
Yeah.
He's in the college gear, Coach.
Yeah.
I will say this, Coach, before you go, I dress nice because of you. I wear my little outfits and my sword necklace, everything. So yeah.
Cool.
Wish I had your hair, but I don't. So, but yeah.
Hey, get a good looking pimp hat. You'll be fine.
I have a few of those too. So
that's
yeah.
Cool.
Coach, congrats on the grandchild, bud. Have a great time at the basketball game. Love you, and please continue to take care of yourself. You are welcome back anytime, brother.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a good weekend.
Take care.
That's awesome, man. The legend.
Guys, how good was that? How good was that?
Man, that was gold.
That was special to have him on. So
that was nostalgia.
That was.
I was transported. I felt 16 again, like in that time.
And being at this age now, I got such an appreciation for that to, for that to happen, because I learned. Me and Amos Colbert said this. We learned politics at West.
Mm-hmm.
It's a political science to why we are who we are now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And you look at the way we raise money for the school, the way we fundraise. Shout out to my man, James Bo Sutton. Shout out to my man, Bo Sutton.
Yep,
Shout out
for
to my
sure.
man, Bo Sutton.
I do want to say this real quick, guys. I know we fell short at the district tournament this past year, but I will say that it was a magical night that was dictated by a referee. I hate to say this. I mean, you never leave it in the hands of the referee. Jalen had possession of the ball. It's their ball. I don't understand how that happened.
That was one of the worst.
Jalen's lucky he didn't get thrown out of the game between, if I can be honest.
But my thing is this.
I thought that ref had thrown him out. So
were you filming the game?
We were 3 standing there leading the student section. I felt like a student.
You know what? Yeah. I thought, did I give you my what's the name to film the game? You did, but I had it. We were engaged in the game, and we were just doing our selfie things or whatever. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
that's
right.
I was so glued to that game that I couldn't even get my phone.
No, I was like into it, and we were trying to will them to victory. I mean, the coaches were doing everything they could possible to light a fire, because that first half, 14 points. Are we kidding?
I'm not gonna put this out for everybody to see, but we've had our private conversation.
We have.
What I was seeing, and I think that all I'm saying is we got to step up this weekend against Oak Ridge.
They're beatable. They're beatable.
Every team is beatable. You have
to beat Bearden for that championship. That should be our championship.
You have to use that the mental clarity and mental toughness to come out there.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen. Let's wrap it up, guys. 2-pair, close us out. Great show, guys. Catch us live. We'll be back next week. We'll talk about it. So 2-pair, close us out, baby.
Yo, man. If you stayed this long, you've enjoyed it. I was supposed to be out of here an hour ago. These dudes that kept me on here. Throw your dubs up, West High. Hey, if you're a Rebel, support this team and support all teams: lacrosse, soccer,
Softball, baseball.
softball, baseball. Shout out to volleyball coach Jessica Lee, the legend. I got to shout her out. I was supposed to shout her out this week. Shout out to Coach Jessica Lee. She's one of my favorite people in the world. Phenomenal what she does with the volleyball team.
Yeah, she's our biggest fan. 8 months old next week. So anyway, she stops crying when she hears our voices. So there we go.
All right, y'all. I gotta wrap this up, man. I gotta get out of here.
See you guys. Rebels with a Cause. We out.